Good evening, distinguished guests, honorable speakers, international partners. Welcome to Indonesia Pavilion. Today we'll be talking about the lesson learned and future of a result-based payment through REDD Plus subnational implementation approach. So REDD Plus is one of the efforts to achieve NDC target in forest sector. With support from donor governments, several REDD Plus program or project in subnational approach are implemented. As the projects are progressing, it considers a necessity to have a dialogue to collect inputs and ideas from all UNFCCC member countries and vision to develop concrete steps for implementing REDD Plus. So to begin, please welcome our moderator for the session. She's the head of task force for preparation of Indonesia's second NDC, Ibu Emma Rahmawati.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. It is my great pleasure for me to moderate this session. I'm Emma Rahmawati from Ministry of Environment and Forestry. I would like to welcome Ibu Laksmi Dewanti, Director General of Climate Change, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Republic Indonesia. Also, welcome to Ibu Divke Rogan, Norway's International Climate and Forest Initiative, NIFKI, Ministry of Climate and Environment, Norway. Welcome also to our speakers from the World Bank, Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Vietnam, who is joining this session online. And also welcome to our participants. So as mentioned by the MC, the objectives of this session is to inform and communicate the emission reduction program through REDD Plus for FCPF and also BioCF at the international level, including performance and emission reduction achievement of the program. To collect inputs and ideas from all participants here, coming from parties and also from other stakeholders, to develop concrete steps in implementing REDD Plus and share lesson learned from Indonesia, Ethiopia, in Vietnam, experiences to implement of REDD Plus activities to achieve the implementation of REDD Plus to achieve the emission reduction target, and then seek potential funding, opportunity funding that can by access emission reduction through result-based payment. Without further ado, I would like to invite Ibu Laksmi Dewanti to deliver her opening remarks. Ibu Laksmi, please.
Thank you, Ibu Emma. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May the peace and Allah blessing upon us. A very good afternoon, distinguished speakers, participants, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is my pleasure to address this important session, at least for Indonesia, and hope for all of you. Let me regards the colleagues, distinguished representative of the government of Norway, Ibu Divke Rogan, as well as the representative from the World Bank, Mr. Erwin Denise. Thank you. Representative from Ethiopia, Mr. Tai Dugaza, as well as the colleagues from Vietnam who will join online, as well as other speakers. So it is indeed my pleasure to being here with you today in the occasions of Pavilion Indonesia on the workshop of lesson learned and future of result-based payment through REDD Plus subnational implementation. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as mandated by the Decision 1 CMA3, parties are encouraged or requested to revisit and strengthen their nationally determined contribution to 2030 target to align with the Paris Agreement temperature goal by the end of 2022. So responding to this mandate, Indonesia has submitted its enhanced NDC back a year ago before COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, And we increase our target in mitigations from 29% to 31.89% reduction in 2030 against the baseline as a business as usual as a baseline. And we also increased our unconditional target from 41% to 43.2% by 2030. So the enhanced NDC simply a transition period towards Indonesia's second NDC, which is Ibu Emma is happened to be the head of the task force in preparing our second NDC. And we would like to have our second NDC to be fully aligned with the Paris goals scenario 1.5 degree. And REDD plus in this context, it's very much significant to contribute to Indonesia's NDC's achievement in achieving the target. Besides the nationally determined contribution, back in 2021, Indonesia has submitted its long-term strategy for low carbon and climate resilience 2050. This document is simply to show Indonesian vision and formulations, a long-term formulations policies toward the agenda of climate change. And within this LTS LCCR 2050, Indonesia have a vision to achieve Indonesia net zero emission by 2060 or sooner. And two of the backbones of achieving this net zero emission by 2060 or sooner are, first is energy sector by energy transition mechanism, and the second is FOLU sector by FOLU Netsing 2030. In 2030, Indonesia simply would like to have emission from the FOLU sector to be minus 140 million tons CO2 equivalent. And it's a huge number, not only for Indonesia, but it's very significant to the global. So that's why we are trying to explore more resource to be mobilized to support our FOLU Netsing 2030 and to be able Indonesia to contribute significantly to our global effort in achieving the 1.5 degree Celsius scenario. So you may aware that within NDC, Indonesia NDC, we have 5 sectors, namely energy, IPPU or industrial process and product use, agriculture, waste, and FOLU or forest and other land use. As I mentioned before, FOLU and energy will be the backbone of Indonesia long-term strategy for low carbon and climate resilience. Today in this session, we're gonna to be focused on FOLU Netsing and how REDD Plus as a result-based payment scheme will be contribute to our target toward FOLU Netsing 2030. I also would like to mention that Indonesia back in 2021 has issued the Presidential Regulation number 98/2021 on the carbon pricing to support our NDC's target. And within through this regulation, Indonesia would like to promote 4 mechanisms under the carbon pricing. And one of the mechanisms is result-based payment. So unlike many other countries or parties that very much focus on Article 6 in talking or walking the carbon pricing, Indonesia intended to have the Article 5 of Paris Agreement to be still alive. And REDD Plus or result-based payment is one of the reflections or as an example that Article 5 of Paris Agreement still alive. And we would like to keep the spirit of Article 5 and join effort with Article 6 and many other articles under the Paris Agreement to achieve our targets in 2030. So this session, it would like to listen and to learn from various parties in implementing the REDD Plus. We know that REDD Plus is one of the very beginning mechanism that been introduced even before we ratified or we introduced the Paris Agreement. So Indonesia believes that REDD Plus will be still valid and significant to our effort in achieving 2030 target. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in NDC roadmap in Indonesia, we categorize mitigation action in forest sector in various ways and in many categories, at least 5 REDD plus activities based on the decision back in Cancun Agreement. And so referring to the forest tradition curve, when deforestation and forest degradation is no longer significant, there is opportunity for the future FREL or FRL constructions to divide natural forests that will categorize under the conservations of forest carbon stock rather than under deforestations and forest degradations. Similarly, for sustainable management of forests, enhancement of forest carbon stock has significant potential for the future REDD Plus in Indonesia through forest and land rehabilitations. So the NDC's roadmap of Indonesia define 2 types of forest and land rehabilitations, namely rehabilitations with rotation and rehabilitation without rotations. These 2 activities can be candidate of enhancement of forest carbon stock under REDD+. So let us hearing from various parties in this session so we can bring back something to our home to walk the talk and to ensure that the Paris Agreement agenda through the forest sector with the REDD plus mechanism will be implemented and will be significantly contribute to our target. Regarding the REDD plus, Indonesia has been since 2012 establishing the REDD plus instrument under the Warsaw framework toward the result-based payment. So we already have our national strategy on REDD plus, and even we just updated our REDD plus national strategy. We have also the safeguard document for REDD plus that maybe a week ago we just submitted to the UNFCCC portal our new summary of REDD safeguard strategy. So Indonesia, it's optimist, and we continue doing the good things to ensure that the result-based payment scheme is part of our resource mobilizations in the context of Paris Agreement implementations. So again, I would like to appreciate and to thank all the participants, all the speakers especially, for their shared information, lesson learned, so then we can enhance our effort, we can strengthen our collaborations, and we can hand in hand toward the implementation of REDD Plus in the futures. I thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Laksmi Dewanti. Now I would like to invite Ibu Divke Rogan to deliver her opening remarks.
Thank you very much, dear friends. It's a great pleasure for me to be here with you today to share some reflections on the lessons learned and future of results-based payments. Norway established its International Climate and Forest Initiative in 2008, and since then we have spent $5 billion supporting tropical forest countries with reducing and halting deforestation. Without tropical forests, there is no way that we will meet the goals under the Paris Agreement, nor the goals under the Global Biodiversity Framework. International cooperation is really essential if we are to protect what's remaining of the world's rainforests. And we believe that results-based payments are a really powerful tool because they reward countries for real and measurable results in the form of reduced emissions from both deforestation and degradation. I'd like to say that among our partner countries, NICFI has several partner countries, but Indonesia really stands out. It's become a world leader in reducing deforestation, and we really want to congratulate Indonesia with achieving the lowest rate of deforestation in 20 years. This is impressive. It's an example really for the whole world, and it has global significance for meeting the Paris goals. Last year, Norway and Indonesia, we entered into a new memorandum of understanding, a new partnership. And this partnership is based on a results-based model. We made our first results-based contribution last year of $56 million US. And this was for reduced deforestations for the years 2016 and 2017. And last weekend at this COP, our Prime Minister announced another contribution of $100 million to Indonesia for the forest years 2017 and 2018 and 2019. For Norway, it's been really key that it is the government of Indonesia that manages this contribution. And we are fully confident that this contribution could not be in better hands than with the Indonesia Environment Fund. We are proud that we are able to support the ambitious Follow Net Sink 2030 plan through this contribution. Beyond our bilateral partnership, we are also proud to support Indonesia through the World Bank's Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, as well as the Biocarbon Fund, where Indonesia has established 2 pilot programs for reduced deforestation and sustainable land use practices. We understand that both the FCPF and the BioCF has brought about positive changes, and that the 2 pilot provinces, East Kalimantan and Jambi, have launched and implemented key reforms as part of these pilots. We've seen province-wide multi-stakeholder forums that have supported the government with formulating development and spatial plans, as well as inclusive benefit-sharing mechanisms. We've also seen high conservation value forest protection policies that are now in place with stronger monitoring capacities, and also forest and fire prevention and management strategies that have been significantly improved as part of these pilots. So we look forward to working towards a first payment through the FCPF, and also to sign a emissions reductions purchase agreement through the BioCF within the next couple of months. And also, of course, to continue our strong collaboration with Indonesia more broadly. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ibu Divke. Now we are coming to our main session, is presentation and discussion. I would like to invite all distinguished speakers to come to the podium. Mr. Erwin Dennis, please. And Ibu Yulia Suryanti from Ministry of Environment and Forestry, please come to the podium. And then, boleh di mana aja. Mr. Taye Dugasa, and Mr. Nguyen Chien Chuong is also ready online. Please have a seat. Okay, I didn't move yet. Now I would like to invite the first speaker, Mr. Erwin Dennis. Mr. Erwin Dennis is Manager of Climate Change Finance Mobilization in the World Bank. And he would like to have presentation. Please, Mr. Dennis, Mr. Erwin Dennis. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss. Can you hear me? Thank you, Miss Emma, and good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to greet the Honorable Ibu Lakshmi Dewanti, Director General for Climate Change at the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Diveke Rogan of NICFI, Ibu Yulia Suryanti of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Mr. Taye Dugasa from Ethiopia, and Mr. Nguyen Chien Quong from Vietnam. It is a privilege to be invited by the government of Indonesia to participate in this important session and speak about jurisdictional results-based climate finance funds for REDD+, an integrated land use under the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and the Initiative for Sustainable Forest Landscapes, ISFL. I would like to highlight that Indonesia is the only country that is implementing an emission reduction program through both the FCPF and the ISFL, as my colleague Diveke mentioned, and it really makes Indonesia stands out in these both programs. Let me also take this opportunity to recognize the important progress that Indonesia has already made to achieve its targets under the FOLU NetSync 2030 strategy, as Ibu Lakshmi mentioned, and to emphasize how honored we are to partner with Indonesia in achieving the targets set out in this ambitious plan. So over the next 5 minutes, I will focus my presentation on our experience in partnering and in helping the different countries in implementing the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and the ISFL. I will say a few words about the current status of these programs and where we're heading in the future, building on the lessons and the experience with the FCPF and the ISFL. So on this first slide, and you might remember, the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility was actually launched in Indonesia in COP13 15 years ago. It was the first large-scale mechanism to support tropical and subtropical forest countries in developing large jurisdictional REDD+ programs. In terms of amounts, the FCPF is providing a total of $1.3 billion in support in the form of readiness grants to support technical assistance, the building blocks to create the necessary institutional, regulatory, and legal frameworks to create emission reductions. That is the first part, that is about $400 million of readiness that was supported to 46 countries. And the second part, which is the largest part, is payments against high social and environmental integrity emission reduction credits or carbon credits. And here we're talking about 15 countries that are a member of the Carbon Fund of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. Let's then go to the second initiative, which is the ISFL, the Initiative for Sustainable Forest Landscapes, is providing more than $320 million, also in readiness and upfront financing to develop 5 jurisdictional integrated land use emission reduction programs. In addition to Indonesia, we're talking about Colombia and Mexico in Latin America, Ethiopia and Zambia in Southern Africa. Enable is supporting the social inclusion of indigenous peoples and local communities in the design and the implementation of emission reduction programs and through benefit sharing. So you have these 3 programs here represented. Together, these programs are supporting countries to generate high integrity emission reductions. And as you know, those are based on robust measurement, reporting, and verification processes, and they receive results-based payments for basically their efforts. Finally, as Diveke also mentioned, these payments are distributed in accordance to benefit-sharing plans that stipulate the use of these revenues received from carbon payments to ensure that communities, including indigenous peoples and local communities, are rewarded for their pioneering role in emission reductions. And this is really paving the way for how carbon markets should operate. So here you have a slide of basically what are these different countries supported by the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and ISFL. FCPF has provided readiness grants to, as I mentioned, 46 countries, and they signed emission reduction payment agreements with 15 countries. Again, Indonesia is part of both the FCPF and ISFL. The FCPF programs are jurisdictional. They are large programs. They're in general subnational. In some countries, they are covering actually the whole country, like in the case of Costa Rica. They are led by government agencies who've developed mitigation strategies in concerned jurisdictions that lay out the mitigation actions required over that territory, the institutional framework, the agencies, and aligning the different investment resources in the territory. In total, FCPF and ISFL are supporting 20 emission reduction programs in 19 countries, with Indonesia participating in both programs. I want to give you an idea of the size. These programs combined cover an area of 233 million hectares, which is larger than Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and UK. The programs are expected to generate more than 300 million emission reductions, which is equivalent to the annual emissions of 83 coal power plants. Now, what is very interesting is the critical stage in which these programs are. And interesting is that the emission reductions could produce over 166 million emission reductions that could be used to mobilize extra financing from carbon markets. And the World Bank, with technical expertise, is now supporting countries to really think through and to identify options for the best use of these emission credits and allowing the maximization of carbon finance through, for example, auction mechanisms, exchanges, or direct agreements. We have enabled the FCPF and ISFL to be CORSIA eligible from the International Civil Aviation Organization, and that is very important, basically stamp of qualities. We are also creating connectivity with different transaction registries and creating market infrastructure. So let's now have a look at these two programs in Indonesia. The World Bank engagement on two very ambitious jurisdictional emission reduction programs spans from 2009, where we began supporting the national government to build the capacity of the East Kalimantan FCPF program, which was followed by Jambi, the Jambi province, in 2019. Both programs support Indonesia's provincial work plans to meet the FOLU Net Sink 2030 targets, as Ibu Lakshmi kindly reminded us. In recent years, Indonesia has reiterated the importance of results-based payments that will be used to achieve the enhanced NDC goals. And we are now seeing more interest in other provinces within Indonesia to replicate these projects. We also note Indonesia's advancements in developing their national REDD+ framework and the REDD+ investment plan. So you have here the numbers, the emission reduction targets for both programs. Oh, I only now realize that I have a screen here in front of me. So emission reduction targets of 22 million tons of CO2 equivalent in the case of East Kalimantan and 14 million in the case of Jambi, with the respective amounts of up to $110 million for the emission reduction payment agreement in East Kalimantan and up to $70 million for the emission reduction payment agreement in the province of Jambi. So let's now go to a few lessons learned and looking ahead to our new multi-donor platform scaling climate action by lowering emissions. So this is really lessons learned from both programs, from the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and ISFL. And I'll just mention a few of those lessons learned. First, countries need this upfront financing to carry out mitigation activities that lead and that generate these emission reductions. And this is what we call the missing middle in between the readiness that we've invested and accompanied countries and the results-based payments against the emission reductions. And this is basically necessary to bridge the gap until results-based payments are received. This is challenging for countries. This can be achieved through basically national budgets, through loans, but also through innovative financing instruments such as emission reduction linked bonds, for example. Secondly, the enabling environment, creating an enabling policy, institutional and regulatory environment through various instruments such as technical assistance, studies. I mentioned the monitoring, reporting and verification systems, but also issues related to land titling, land ownership, among others. So this is what we mean by the enabling environment to generate these investments and emission reductions. Thirdly, the incentive of results-based payments enables efficient and sustainable readiness. And here we've really seen that the countries who had signed the emission reduction payments agreements, the 15 countries, basically were able, understandably, to move much more quickly and efficiently in their readiness than countries without the emission reduction payment agreement. Related to readiness, it is very important that it's country-driven, the level of commitment from government and stakeholders, and the learning by doing. In the FCPF and the ISFL programs where governments have been leading the process, institutional capacity is more sustainable, and this is really what we are most committed to, is building and strengthening capacity of local institutions and national institutions. Finally, smart benefit sharing arrangements are a crucial component to foster a virtuous cycle that enables the continuous expansion of mitigation and sustainable outcomes. Up to 90% of basically the climate and carbon finance flows to communities, so involving communities not only at the time of the release of the payments, but early on in program design, and the design of these benefit sharing arrangements is key. And that this really relates to broader social inclusion at the design stage and not just at the level of the benefit sharing arrangements. And finally, the high integrity credits can really help countries to achieve their climate and development ambitions. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if sold or if basically transacted on carbon markets, they can leverage an additional source of finance to further scale up mitigation actions. Let me now very briefly mention our new scale partnership, Scaling Climate Action by Lowering Emission. Again, this is results-based climate finance. This program seeks to deploy more results-based climate finance and to help bridge the gap by supporting countries to access international carbon markets. We really envision this as a continuation of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and the ISFL, providing technical assistance, and again, this transaction, this payment for results, the learning by doing, helping countries to build a track record in high-quality emission reduction credits. Now, the difference with the FCPF and the ISFL is that the scale results-based payments will be incorporated in or mainstreamed in World Bank operations, such as, for example, it could be incorporated in the large mangrove conservation and restoration program that Indonesia has brought to implementation last year. And I would like to mention also that in the context of the World Bank Evolution Roadmap, since our new president, Ajay Banga, joined in July, the Environment Global Practice is developing a global challenge program dedicated to forest, which really brings an integrated package of World Bank instruments, including results-based climate finance, to help countries with their REDD+ agenda. And finally, this last slide, I wanted to emphasize basically how the scale support, really integrated as part of a larger World Bank package, helps with, on the one hand, the financing, the upfront financing that is needed and the policy reforms that are needed for generating emission reductions, helping making sure that these emission reductions are of high quality and high integrity, the MRV systems, the national registries, but again helping countries with their decisions on the use of these carbon credits, either using them against their NDC and their national climate targets, or let's say trading via compliance or voluntary markets. In conclusion, the World Bank with partner countries as Indonesia, but also countries like Vietnam and Ethiopia here present. It's really a pleasure to partner together. Last week, when our President Ajay Banga was here, he launched our carbon market engagement roadmap, which outlines how we are increasing support and scaling ambition and helping countries to generate more high-integrity emission reductions, helping to monetize them through voluntary or Article 6 carbon market transactions, develop new financial instruments, and work at the global level to unlock critical bottlenecks in the carbon market ecosystems. We really invite you, and we count on your collaboration to make this a reality and to engage on this topic. With that, thank you very much, and over to you, Ms. Emma. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Erwin Dennis. That's very interesting presentation that show how the role of the World Bank with all mechanism, ESFL, FCPF, enable and scale to support countries in strengthening their efforts to reduce GHG emission in forest sector. Now, let us hear how the lesson learned from countries that implements REDD plus result-based payment. Now I would like to invite Ibu Yulia Suryanti. As previously Mr. Erwin mentioned about East Kalimantan and also Jambi, Ibu Yulia will present details on the implementation of ESFL and also FCPF in these two provinces. A lesson learned and future of result-based payment through East Kalimantan project for emission reduction result and Jambi emission reduction result program. Please, Ibu Yulia Suryanti.
Thank you, Ibu Emma. Good afternoon, colleagues. Ibu Laksmi, Ibu Divke, and all the presenter here, both here physically, Bapak Erwin and Bapak Taye, and Mr. Nguyen, Bapak Nguyen, who is joining us virtually. Before I present a brief presentation, just want to inform you that as Ibu Laksmi mentioned earlier, that Indonesia has positive trend of gaining global recognition for its success, the REDD plus mechanism under the RBP. So the recognition is approval for funds, like Pak Erwin mentioned, for fund amounting to 103.8 million US dollar as performance payment from the Green Climate Fund. And Indonesia has presented the result of REDD performance for the 2014 to 2016 period with a volume of emission reduction around 20.3 million tons CO2 equivalent. So Indonesia also success in reducing this GHG emission by in 2016 to 2017 in the amount of 11.2 million tons CO2 equivalents under the result-based payment with the value of 56 million US dollar. Through the new partnership with the Norwegian government in support of Indonesia effort to reduce greenhouse gas emission from the forestry and other land use or follow through the follow netting 2030. So maybe we can go to how Indonesia experiences in the RBP REDD Plus within two provinces, Jambi province and East Kalimantan, as already mentioned by Erwin. So, next slide, please. Oh, sorry. So, this is Jambi province, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. So, one of the provinces in the Sumatra Islands. So, the ER targets for the ER performance 2020 to 2025 with the amount of 40 million tons CO2 equivalent with the value of USD 70 millions. So this is already mentioned by Mr. Erwin. So we have the pre-investment from the 2021 to 2025 with the amount of 13.5 million US dollar. So we have the unit, the KPH, the 4 unit for the conservation areas, and as well as the national park, 5 agencies in the provincial governments, and through the forest management unit. So this is the projects we are having funded for, with the target for the 14 million ton CO2 equivalents. So this is our timelines for the project. So from the 2018 to 2022, we have the preparation phase, and we have the grant agreement for the pre-investment for 2021 to 2025, which is signed on 23rd December 2022, and in the pre-investment phase started in 2021 with the amount of USD 13.5 million dollars. So we already have prepared the ERPD, now it's in the process for the validation, and we are starting to prepare the ERPA, the emission reduction agreement. So with the target of in January 2024, we will be done, finish it, hopefully, for the amount of 70 million for 14 million ton CO2 equivalent. It will depend on the ERPA negotiations, and it will be done, the range of the period is until 2025. So, ladies, colleagues, so this is our phase. So from the preparation in the year 2019, and now we are on the pre-investment phase, and we are trying to finish it up in the January. So as we already discussed with World Bank, with Mr. Erwin's team, so hopefully it will go through, and maybe through our lesson from how this Jambi province prepare itself for the ERPA negotiation until the signing, and then we can have another province to be replicated, as Mr. Erwin mentioned before. So this is a bit detail for the emission reduction, the driver of emission removals in ERPD, that we in the Jambi province, the largest driver of emission is from the follow sector with the emission of 389.4 million ton CO2 equivalents. This is around 61.7%. And deforestation is the largest contributor with the percentage of 69%. So as we already identified that the largest driver of deforestation mostly is from the agricultures or forest conversion. So this is all the numbers already presented in our ERPD. And this is the area of the Jambi program. The area implementation with the FMU as well as the national park in the conservation areas. We have this map, so it's not as big as East Kalimantan, which I will present it in the next slide. But this is the Jambi province, and we have positive hope that it will be done finalized in near future, not too long. And this is our baseline for Jambi province with the reference period 26 to 2018, with the total emission reduction, emissions from the emissions for land use change and pit decompensation, as well as for the pit fire, with the total number of 26.7 ton CO2 equivalent per year. So this is a bit detail how the emission reduction which will be achieved through this project per year. So from 2022 until 2025, with the amount, the total amount is 19.3 million ton CO2. So from 2020 to 2025. So Mr. Erwin mentioned about the benefit sharing mechanism. This is one requirement for the RBP. So we already identified the benefit of the ER program, carbon and non-carbon. And then we already identified the beneficiary, and as well as determination of the allocation of benefits and their proportion as well. And of course, the distribution mechanism already put in place in this benefit sharing mechanism, and the use of benefits itself. So these documents already finalized, and this is part of the ERPA requirement negotiation. This is about the safeguards milestone in Jambi province through BioCF ISFL. So in 2019 until 2023, we have already get to implement the safeguard system and FAIC in 60 villages. So all these steps is already done, and we already have this safeguards document in place and ready for the negotiation. And now we are seeing the East Kalimantan. Mr. Erwin mentioned a little bit about the East Kalimantan project, right? So this is a bit detailed information how this REDD Plus result-based payment REDD Plus in East Kalimantan being implemented is from through the FCPF Carbon Fund. So the target is to reduce emission from years 2022 to 2024 through the 11.7 million hectares to protect 6.5 billion hectares of forest area. So this is the target, and this is the milestone, the time frame for the program payment from the 2016, since the ERP already reviewed, until the 2022, we have already a letter of intent signed for the ERPD, and then we have the ERPD submitted in 2018, as well as the ERPD being reviewed and selected in 2019, and the ERPA signed in 25th November 2022. So this is our status now. So we are in the implementation phase, implementation, verification, and payment, with the first period June 2016 to December 2022. And the second period is from the January 2021 to 31st December 2022. And the third period will be done from 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2024. So this is our status now, where we are now here, through those milestones, those preparation, and until the emission, the ERPA signing. So, emission reduction program component in our FCPF in East Kalimantan content of improving land and forest governance, strengthening land and forest management, reducing deforestation and forest degradation within permitted areas, and development of sustainable alternative livelihood for communities, as well as the management and monitoring of the program as one of the core components. So the sub-program will be done, will consist of 12 sub-program and 29 activities. So we can see here like licensing, the improving licensing governance, resolving tenurial conflicts, because some of the areas has these issues, and support the recognition indigenous communities, strengthening village fund, administrative capacity, and the capacity of regional approaches and agencies, as well, not only in the forestry sector, but also in the agriculture. So we have coordination and collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture. So implementing agriculture management and monitoring system and PHPL and REAL is one of the some of the 29 activities being implemented under this program. And of course, the alternative livelihood as well as the partnership for conservation and social forestry is already put into that sub-program. And of course, this is about the management and monitoring of the program as a part of the project. So sharing plan in East Kalimantan, how we already put this mechanism in place. So the beneficiaries as well is not only the government, the national and provincial, but we already put its mechanism involving the business actors and community group, as well as the customary law community. So this is the proportion of the responsibility, performance, and rewards allocation. Just want to, this is, maybe you can see later on, this is the usage of benefit under the BSP, under the benefit sharing mechanism. And this is our lesson learned. So if we're talking about the lesson we are learned from these two provinces, which maybe can be useful if we want to replicate it in the other province, or maybe from the other, we can learn from these two projects through for the replication or mechanism, REDD mechanism for other countries. So the changes in governance to support sustainable and aligned activities, this is demonstrated by the draft government regulation. So the commitment from the government, the regional government, it will be done under the Provincial Legislative Council. And then the MRV safeguard and benefit sharing mechanism and formulating land-based emission reduction oriented policies, which will be done which has to involve the local communities and the private sector. And the third point we'll learn from this project is changing at the paradigm of the implementing agency, as well as the farmers involved get capacity building and transfer of technology in managing land sustainably. So this is about the awareness and the involvement of the stakeholders. Management of REDD Plus implementation need to be strengthened both national and subnational level, because the success of the REDD Plus implementation, the jurisdictional is a key point for success and in implementing the REDD Plus mechanism. And in Indonesia, in subnational level, ensuring alignment of its REDD actions within national guidance, as well as enhanced horizontal and vertical coordination are very important. So this is our lesson learned from two provinces in Indonesia who's already implementing the RBP, REDD Plus mechanism. And I hope this can also improve our activities, our implementation, future implementation of the REDD Plus, the RBP, in both in Indonesia or in other countries, as well as ensuring that Article 5 of the Paris Agreement will still be alive. So thank you, Ibu Emma. I'll give the floor to you. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, Ibu Julia, that share with us the experiences of implementation of RBP in East Kalimantan and Jambi province. For East Kalimantan, we have received the first payment from ERMR, and then from Jambi, that has a potential of emission reduction around 19 million ton carbon dioxide. That's beyond our commitment in our LOI, that's only 14 million ton. But it is subject to ERPA negotiation. Now I would like to invite Mr. Taye Dugasa that will share with us on the lesson learned and future of result-based payment, Oromia forested landscape. Mr. Taye Dugasa is a coordinator of Oromia Forest Landscape Program in Ethiopia. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Protocol is as kept. Before I enter to my presentation, I would like to thank the government of Indonesia to give the chance to present our experience. And also I would like to thank to the World Bank, Norway, because of the support, the continued support of them. We are here today. So I would like to thank them again. There are delegates from Ethiopia and as well as Oromia in our room, and they may support what I left after my presentation. So, as you remember, last year I have presented the Oromia forestry landscape implementation, and I will rush over that, and I will go directly to the emission reduction program. So this is, as you all of you know, those are the countries funded by the ISFL. From globally, we are funded by the global, and Ethiopia is one of them. We are here today to present our experience for Indonesia. This is introduction part, yeah. So, as all of you know, REDD is one of the policy instruments to contribute the anthropogenic greenhouse gas from the forest ecosystem in developing country, including Ethiopia. So Oromia forestry landscape is the first large-scale jurisdictional REDD Plus pilot program by the government of Ethiopia. Yeah. This is the objective of our OFLP to deforestation. Can you hear me, please? Deforestation and reduce land use-based emission, enhancement of forest carbon stock at state level, and sustainable forest management through afforestation and reforestation and the participatory forest management. This is the objective of Oromia Forestry Landscape program. So this is the site where we are implementing investment on the ground. Actually, as I've mentioned before, Oromia Forestry Landscape is jurisdictional. We are implementing wall-to-wall, especially safeguards, technical support, and capacity building is jurisdictional. But there are deforestation hotspots, which are there, deforestation very high. We are working plantation and forest management in 9 zones. This is the site in Oromia. Yeah. The other thing, this program has 3 phases. The first one is design phase, implementation phase, and the emission reduction phase. Now we have implemented, we have complete implementation phase from April 2017 up to 2023 with the grant of $18 million. And now we are transiting from that project to the emission reduction result-based payment. We have got 0.75 million from ISFL to transit to until the emission reduction payment comes, and we are working on that currently. Yeah. So now we are working on that. From key results of OFLP, we have planned to brought under forest management 120,000 hectares, and our achievement is 220, and also to a forest bare land, we have planned 9,000 hectares, and our achievement is 9,600 hectares and above, and also 18 1,000 land users have been adopted on sustainable land management, and also 14,000 forest users have been taken training by this project, and also 16,000 direct beneficiaries have been identified by this project, and we have established 528 cooperatives. Now, I'm focusing on this ERPA signing. We have signed ERPA February 2023, and between the government of Ethiopia and the World Bank, the buyer is the World Bank BioSFL Tranche 3, and the seller is the government of Ethiopia. We have signed $40 million. If we generate more, with call option, and also we have additionally $20 million in the agreement framework. So this is the signing ceremony with the Minister of Finance in Ethiopia and the World Bank representative. So ERPA has two phases, which we have agreed. The first phase is from January 2022 up to 2024. And the second phase is January 2025 up to 2029. And the first one have two reporting period. It has two reporting period. That is the design of that ERPA phase. Those are another initiatives which have contribution to Oromia forestal landscape. As I've mentioned before, Oromia forestal landscape is an umbrella in the region as well as in the country. The other initiatives have contributed to this umbrella project or program. Yeah, this is ERPA modality, ERPA phase 1 modality. The first ERPA phase is only from forestry sector, from only deforestation, and the value is $50 million. The period is 2022 up to 2024. Contract agreement is 1.8 million ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. So it has two modalities. The first modality is retransferred, which is contribute about 35%. The buyers buy this 6,200 this amount, and they retransfer to us for the national contribution for national NEDC, the 35%. So the second modality is retained, which is 65%, 1.1 million ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, and the total amount of the first phase is $50 million. So the other one is ERPA second phase modality. The ERPA second phase is including forestry and livestock, which include degradation, and as well as the enteric fermentation comes from livestock. So this is the value is $25 million, and the ERPA phase period is January 2025 up to December 2029. It has also two modalities as that of the ERPA first phase, and 35% of retransfer and 65% of retained. Actually, the price is not yet decided. It will be negotiated as the time reach. Yeah. This is the benefit sharing plan, criteria versus distribution mechanism. The criteria has 3 levels at zonal level. Performance at zonal level, it has 2 criteria. Performance, which contributes 60%, and the forest area, 40%. The second one is at district or Warda level, forest area, 50%, plantation development, 30%, cooperative establishment is 20%. The last one is below district or at Kabale level, forest area, it has 2 criteria, 60% forest area for development or plantation, a forestation, it is about 40%. This is the criteria how we distribute the benefit among the community. The other one is disbursement mechanism. The money directly come from World Bank to Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Finance reduce operational costs and the 3% buffer, and the net payment will go to 75% to the community, 5% for private sector, 15% for regional and federal government, and 5% for 5% for regional government. So 5% is the forest sector, private sector developers, sorry. And the 75% goes to zone, warada, and the Kabale level. At the Kabale level, this 75% will be distributed to the community to use as community development project, which used to increase emission reduction, so 50% is for that purpose, and the 45% is for social development, like school, road, clinic, building, and 5% is for vulnerable group or for revolving fund for those who are not working and for those old and sick persons. This is the distribution mechanism. The other one is benefits are also distributed. I have mentioned this also. 20% for regional and federal government, 5% for private forest developers, and 75% will be for the community. The other things, ongoing activities. Now we have developed national and regional greenhouse gas emission reduction performance evaluation versus forest reference level. These have been already developed. And also baseline development for forest degradation and enteric fermentation from livestock. This also have been developed. In addition to that, benefit sharing plan and benefit sharing operational manual. After getting the benefit, how to operate that benefit, and we have produced that for that benefit sharing operational manual, revised and get approval by the World Bank and the BioCF, ISFL for sustainable forestry landscape, as it is a condition for the disbursement of ERPA. Lesson learned. We have built the capacity of national and the subnational MRV experts to enable them autonomously engage in periodic forest monitoring activity. And in addition, we have developed also, we have built MRV lab. This is what we have done. And the other one, in strengthening the international, national, and the regional coordination and cooperation to enhance enabling environment for emission reduction in the country NDC achievement. Those are the lessons learned, and engagement of community also have been increased, and also the deforestation have been reduced significantly. This is what I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taye. It's very interesting. FCPF only focus on forestry sector, and then ESFL in Jambi focus on forestry and agriculture, and in OFLP is focus on forestry and livestock. Now, last but not least, I would like to invite speaker from Vietnam, Mr. Nguyen. Are you with us here?
Okay.
Okay, please. I would
Okay,
like, Mr. Nguyen is Mr. Nguyen Chieng Chuong, Payment for Forest Environmental Specialist from Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, and good evening from Vietnam. I'm so happy to have a presentation on the ERPA in the north central region of Vietnam with World Bank. And okay, so can you show my presentation? Yes. Yeah, next please. Okay, so we know that for the ERPA, it means the emission reduction payment agreement between the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the World Bank in Vietnam. So you know that for the ERPA, it is the very first agreement on the carbon payment in Vietnam. And in terms of the legal basis, there is no legal basis for this type of activities in Vietnam so far. So that is why the ministry had to submit to the government to issue a decree 107 to pilot the ERPA program. So it means that we have to develop a new decree for providing the legal basis to implement the ERPA in Vietnam. And for the ERPA in Vietnam, we sign with the World Bank with the total payment amount of 51.5 million US dollar, with the purchase volume of 10.3 million tons of CO2. And the jurisdiction is in the 6 provinces in the north central region of Vietnam. The implementation phase from 2018 to 2025. And for this, of course, we follow the FCPF carbon standards. Yeah. Next, please. Okay. So, no, back. Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So this is a time frame that we implemented the ERPA so far. Actually, we start to develop the concept. We call the emission reduction program in 2014. And after that, we have a readiness phase from 2014 to 2018. And then we get the ERPA approved in 2018. And we got the, you know, that we got the verification from the third party in 2021. And at the meantime, in 2023, we have that received the first payment from the World Bank with the amount equivalent to 80% of the total contract with the World Bank. And the contract or the ERPA will be fulfilled and expired by 2025. Yeah. According to the ERPA with World Bank, there are 2 conditions of effectiveness, including the title transfer. And for this, it means the government of Vietnam has issued the decree 107. So for this decree, it provides a legal basis for transfer the title to the World Bank. So it means that you know that for this, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development acting on behalf of the forest owner of the 6 provinces, and the ministry acting on behalf of the forest owner, and then we have the the authority to transfer the to the World Bank. And regarding the second condition of effectiveness, it is a BSP, the benefit sharing plan. And for this, we have the decision of the ministry. So the ministry issue a decision to approve the BSP. So it means that the two conditions of effectiveness have been fulfilled. Of course, there are some others conditions and requirements. That is the first monitoring report. And for this, the monitoring report for 2018 and 2019. For this, we got the third party verified and accredited. And accordingly, the total amount of 16.21 million tons of CO2 was verified by the third party, the Aster Global, in October 2023. And the other condition is POM. It means that the program operation manual. This is additional requirement of World Bank. And for this one, the ministry already submit to the World Bank for endorsement and no objection letter. And we are submitting to the ministry for approval soon. So it means we hopefully the form will be approved by the ministry by end of this month. It means end of December. Yes, please. And so far we have or we received the World Bank support field support mission in March 2023. And for this mission, the World Bank conducts the field mission to cross-check whether Vietnam get readiness in terms of the technical, institutional arrangements, capacity, and so on. And the World Bank also declared the effectiveness in March 2023. And of course, the ministry already clear all the technical and financial registration procedures. And we have do it through the CAT system of World Bank. And as I mentioned that the ministry already received the first payment of 80% of the total contract value in August 2023, with the total amount of 41.2 million US dollar from the World Bank. Yes, please. And for this, the ERPA, you can see a great or huge amount of beneficiaries under the ERPA. The first, that is the state or the special forest management board. It is 19 special forest management board and 36 protection forest management board with almost 68,000 households and almost 950 communities involved in this ERPA. And we also have the engagement of 570 commune people's committee. Those community and commune people's committee, they are allocated forest or they sign the contract for forest protection with the forest management board or the other forest owner. And for this, according to the World Bank, we also identify the community living near and inside the forest. So it means that even in some even these community, they are not contracted for forest protection, but according to the requirement of World Bank, we still need to get them involved in this ERPA. And for this community, the total amount of almost more than 1,356 communities living near and inside the forest. And of course, the beneficiaries.
Mr.
Yes.
Chuang, my
Yeah.
apology. Could you speed up your presentation because
Okay, fine.
we don't have
Yeah.
much time left. Thank you.
Okay,
Actually,
fine.
we don't have time at all, actually.
Yeah.
Just speed up, please.
Okay, fine.
Maybe you can
Yeah.
resume it.
Yeah. And of course, we also have the other beneficiaries who are the army forces and other economic entities. Yeah, please, next. So this is a fund flow. You can see the fund flow of ERPA. So it means that the ministry, we get the funding from the World Bank or the FCPF through the forest protection system from the central to the provincial level. And at the central level, we are allowed to keep maximum of 3.5% for management fees and other technical intervention at the central level. And then the rest is distributed to the provincial fund. So at the provincial fund level, they are allowed to keep maximum 10% of the management cost for to cover the activities, and the rest is to pay directly to the forest owner and the communities at the grassroots level. Yes. So this is a master financial plan according to the ministry decision, and you can see that we have this master financial plan clearly for different type of beneficiary for different year from now to 2025. Yeah. Yeah. Next, please. Of course, there are still some pending activities that we still have to fulfill. At the meantime, we are working closely with the World Bank to exercise the co-option because according to the ERPA, the World Bank, we exercise the co-option of 1 million ton, 1 million ERs. And for this one, it is being discussed and being under negotiation between the ministry and the World Bank. And World Bank is also supporting the ministry to pilot the auction of the ER. Yeah, that is quite a good point. And of course, at the meantime, we also doing our internal process to transfer the ER title to the World Bank. And for the approval of the form document as well, we try to get it approved by end of this month. And of course, we still have some other pending activities like to disperse the payment to the forest owner and to also make a calculation of ER amount for each province under the ERPA. Yes, please. So for ERPA, what are the lessons learned? Yes, please. Next. The first very big lesson learned from ERPA with Gunbang is that we have a chance
Mr.
to
Nguyen,
learn.
Mr. Nguyen,
Yes.
your
Yeah.
time is up. Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have time.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
thank you very
Yeah.
much, Mr.
Okay.
Nguyen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presentation. That's very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the speakers have delivered very comprehensive presentations. We could maybe get the whole files for further for the learning of the process. And then my apology, I couldn't able to allocate time for us here to have a discussion with you because other session is coming. So we have to end our presentation and discussion session. I would like to end this session and please give big applause to our speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the speakers, and I hand over to the MC.